55 in the Laramie Plains Civic Center. This is the Talk Shop, and the Candidate Awareness Tour 2026 resumes with Brandon Newman. His candidacy for re-election in the 2026 election cycle for Laramie City Council, Ward 2. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning, Eric. How are you?
It's good to see you and good to be here. And thank you to our veterans, having served, serving now, but have fallen. We did a special on Saturday. It was at Green Hill Cemetery, and we followed the VFW Post 2221 and the American Legion Post 14. Boy Scouts and members of the community at large as they put flags up throughout Green Hill Cemetery at veteran plots and grave sites, and the tribute that they did. There was a still, and it was somber, it was humble, and it was accented by Chaplain John from the local National Guard unit in Laramie, playing the bagpipes. And most amazing, the Avenue of Flags, really impressive. Green Hill looking fabulous. I can only give the city of Laramie troops, be that Scott Hunter and his team, big props, absolute rock star credit due to that group at this time of year, all year long. But it looked fabulous, and it was really an honor to cover that. Of all the stories, more than 2,500 stories done in 10 years. It's most magnificent to have been invited to that one, and I can't believe that it was the first one I'd done, Brandon.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to this one. I went last year. I come from one of those quote-unquote military families. In my family, you either became military, you went into the trades, you were a teacher, or you were a nurse, and that kind of summed it all up. And I've had family on both sides, my mom and dad, who have passed away who were in the military. So this day means a lot to people like that, right? So I'm excited for some activities that are going to go on today. Hopefully we can find some barbecues to go to.
You not only find them, Mr. Newman, but we know you to enjoy serving them. And as a barbecue artist yourself, what's on for today? Brisket or other?
We're gonna do. I gotta do some pulled pork for a Bible study that my wife goes to, and then I think I'm gonna do some ribs for the family. I had a daughter who both my daughters have actually both moved away from Wyoming now. One of them is coming back up here for high school graduation, and she's bringing my mother-in-law. So I'm probably going to cook some ribs for the family tonight. Yeah.
And you are running for re-election.
I am.
How's that feel? And before we go there, introduce yourself to those that might not know you. They're under a certain shelter or rock, and they haven't come to know you yet. Introduce yourself for Ward 2 City Council.
Sure. My name is Brandon Newman. I'm not from Laramie. I born and raised in Kansas, came up here for school, graduated from school. There were no jobs here at that time that I qualified for or I overqualified for, so it just didn't work out for me to stay. I had a couple offers on Cheyenne back then, but those didn't pan out for me, so we moved back home, back to Kansas there. I opened my own shop. I opened a repair shop. After I went through this working for the corporate world, decided that wasn't for me. Small independent shops, decided that wasn't for me. We just opened our own. COVID happened, which was, a lot of people say that COVID, and I'm not putting them down by any means. COVID was a blessing for my family. We got out of the shop right at the beginning of COVID. I had hand surgery at that time, so I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and then decided, let's just jump on ZipRecruiter. I found out Wyotek was hiring. We moved back up here, and I've been up here ever since. I ran for council kind of on a whim, partially because you tried to reach out to some of these political figures, and I never got a response back, and it irritated me. So I told my wife one day, I was like, I'm running for council. And she's like, no, you're not. You're not a politician by any means. I'm not politically correct. Never have been. Probably never will be. And I won the first time. It was a close race. And then from there, just kind of working on some things on council with transparency. We need housing. We need economic development, those kinds of things. So I'm a dad. I got 3 kids. We fostered I don't know how many other kids. So that's me in a nutshell.
Brandon, you started your representative 4-year term in 22, and that was your first exposure to public service in elected fashion, or had you been elsewhere?
So I was in Kansas. I was on the Planning and Zoning Committee there for 3 years. I started just as a member, went to secretary. I left as vice chair. I think if I stayed there, I would have became chair. That's not elected. It's appointed by county commissioners there. But that was like my first dip into like real politics and, reading state statutes and what we can do, what we can't do kind of thing, building codes, those kinds of things. So that was my first like dip into it, but it wasn't elected. This was my first elected position.
What do you want people to know has been accomplished that you're most proud of in the last 4 year of your term?
I think everything that I said I was going to do, like we're working on or have achieved, right? The biggest one obviously is affordable housing. I don't know how we're going to do that with prices going up and up and up. Working on building codes has helped a little bit, but until we can get some developers in here that maybe aren't here for the profit, because we're seeing that kind of nationwide, it doesn't matter, and it goes all the way down to the building materials, right? And there's got to be profit made on everything possible these days, and I love where we live, being the United States, but man, the amount of profit that companies make here, it's kind of getting pretty bad. So I'm still working on, and I have a meeting. I was supposed to do it last week, but I woke up to a flat tire, so I'm trying to reschedule that for next week so I can get this landlord small improvement plan up and running, so we can start using some of that money that landlords pay into the city for something that is worthwhile.
That's a great topic. Give some detail and depth to that particular item, would you?
Sure. So, before I joined council, and then there, kind of the first couple months there, the city of Laramie has a landlord registration plan that if you have a rental, and not short-term rentals, but a rental, you have to come and get license with the city, but get registered with the city.
So vacation rentals by owner accepted, exempt.
Right.
And
Airbnbs, you don't have to do any of those.
So a qualified rental must register. It's about a $25 fee per annually. And in that, what has been done with the fees that have been collected to benefit rental property owners? Or
sure. So it just goes into the general fund, and then when we have complaints, and we've had some, I don't know the number, maybe 6 or something, I don't remember, that have went up through maybe the court system, and then we have ones that we have to tell the tenant, well, you've already moved out according to the ordinance, like we can't do anything. Or we had one come in and was like, hey, I still live here, I want to file this complaint, but I'm moving out in 3 days, or whatever that looks like, right? So like we can't help those. So basically right now it kind of helped fund, just really city clerk's office with taking those complaints, the website, those kinds of things.
I do remember during 2025, maybe 2024, city manager Janine Jordan at the time indicated that they tracked more than 500 hours being dedicated to this particular program. And each year to date, there's been approximately 6 annually that file complaints. And if they do move out, they no longer have standing. So in some of, if not all of the 6 filed annually, that becomes a major detractor from actual change perhaps being engaged. What's your position with respect to the program? Where does it need to go? Is it necessary? Is it not necessary? What's your standing?
Well, I talked out about this from the very beginning because I think it leaves out some of the important rentals, I think, and that's going to be the short-term rentals. And the feedback on that was, well, you know, companies like Airbnb, they have their own standards. Well, that's great. Why can't we just write those into ours, right? That way, it's all uniform. Is it a good thing to have? I mean, I think so. I think it needs revised. I do have some ideas that I was talking to City Clerk about 2 weeks ago now, about how we could rewrite that to where, you know, even if you file a complaint and move out, like there could be some investigation that happened, right, to see if that really was the case and what could be changed from there. And then the money that just goes into the general fund, my program that I designed, man, so much research went into that because it was kind of like looking to see what other communities did with this money. And you'd be surprised, like, if they have a rental ordinance, a lot of it just goes into the general fund. And I was like, well, that's okay to a point, right? But what are we doing for some of these landlords? So I wrote a plan, got money budgeted for it. It's still budgeted for it. I just need to sit down with, and I sat down with Janine, and we kind of, there were some rough spots to the program that I was like, I don't know what to do here, so I'm just going to do this.
So this is prior to Janine Jordan, city manager, departing mid-December of 2025.
Yeah, and then so now city manager Feeser, we're meeting. I don't think he has the copy of the edited one. So now we're not necessarily starting over, but see if he still agrees with some of the changes that we want to do. Basically what it is, it's going to be a grant loan program that money can go into. And if you have small, and it's for small landlords, so under, I think I put in there under
limited
50,
by units or something.
And there's a clause in there that we go back and check owners of LLCs too, because it's very popular to have 10 rentals but 10 different LLCs, to where it protects you even more, right? So there's some clauses in there that says that we'll go back and check that as well. But
when you say check that, would it be to represent a collective by the same principal agent of each
Correct,
of those? So
yeah.
you would centralize it and basically bypass an LLC protection?
It just so we knew who really technically owned it, right, or who technically owned the LLC, because what I don't want is somebody like maybe The Point, who I don't even know how many rentals they just have up there, right? I don't want them. I don't think it would be fair for them to come in and say, I need $100,000 for this.
Because they put one building under one LLC and another building under another.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm not saying they do that, but there are companies that do that, right?
No, but your point's well taken. A lot of research going into a variety of different considerations. Isn't this complexity perhaps a time to consider with 6 filings in how many years of operation has this? 3?
I think this started in 21, 20.
All right, so we're now at 5.
Remember, yeah.
If that's accurate, we're now approaching 6 years, and an average of 6 amidst 33,000 in Laramie, Wyoming, 6 claims annually. Does not the state statutes present enough coverage that the duplication not necessarily needed?
Remember, this is a council of 9, and I don't think the other council members will allow this to go away. So I tried to find a way that we could use the money instead, right? You're a small landlord, hot water heater goes out, you don't have the funds to go get it. You can come, request money through this program. There's a filing fee that's $50. I don't remember what it is off the top of my brain. And then you make payments for X amount of time back to that amount, and then let's say 6 months, right? You make $25 payments on $1,000, and I'm just using these numbers as example. You pay those for 6 months on time. We waive the rest of the money after that. So it's a kind of a grant loan program, right? To recoup some of the money, but then like the registration fees will coop some of that money as well, to where now the next person who comes in and needs something, smoke detectors, anything like that, like there's a program in place now. What I'm trying not to do, and I know a couple council members have chimed in to where they would like to see this in the program. I am not looking for down payment assistance. I think there's enough programs out there currently that will help with that, but there is not any programs that I am aware of that will help a small landlord. And so I think this would be, if it's not going to go away, what do we do instead, kind of thing. And that's kind of what I'm looking at here.
With respect to your ideas on it, who's joined you in authoring this update to the rental agreement program?
Nobody. That's the thing. I guess that's the thing the public needs to know about me is I don't backdoor deal. What I mean by that is if you hear me talk about it at council, it's probably the first time some of the council members have heard about it. I don't like closed door meetings. I don't like talking about stuff off of council. Now some of the things, if I need a second, maybe I'll call around and say, hey, here's my thoughts. Could I get a second?
What's the threshold for those that might not know for if there's consult or collaboration meeting outside of council chambers on a designated advertised time? What constitutes quorum and an actual meeting to be needed, disclosed, and advertised?
So that's state statute is really great in this area to an extent. If we are talking public business, city business, we have to have a quorum, which is 5, which means that has to be advertised, and the special meeting could be called from the mayor, or we could publicize it, right? Now, if we all go to like Freedom Has a Birthday, all 9 of us, as long as we're not standing in a circle talking about public business, then that's fine, right? So as long as we're not talking about public business at that time.
So what's the threshold you just take a stronger stance on it from what it sounds like, and you're only seeking a second. You're not generally involving yourself in more than one, maybe 2 conversations in order to assure a second.
There's probably a couple of council members I don't think I've talked to not in the council chambers at all. Like, I haven't called Joe in a long time. When I first got elected, I did, but last couple of years, I don't think I've talked to him off record. Usually, my first go-to is Matt Lockhart. Hey, Matt, here's my idea. What do you think? And it could have came from a work session. It could have came from, stormwater was a big one, right? We wanted to get rid of that. He was my first call. As soon as he said I had a second, I didn't call anybody else.
Right. It qualifies as business to be considered procedurally, so long as you have a second.
Yeah, and I don't need a second even to put it on an agenda. I just didn't want it to fail and go right. You write that ordinance. For that one, we had to write an ordinance to get rid of it. I didn't want to sit there and write that whole thing and then not get a second. So I wanted to make sure I got that second on there. Obviously, it failed because we still had it for a while, but now it's gone. So
I think the first year or 2 of operation, I recall, $142,000 collected in the rental program, that registration program. A lot of money, and that was moved into the general fund. What are your thoughts with respect to the push in the press has been for affordable housing. What about perhaps an egress, basement egress program where that money could be used in some determined fashion to benefit those landlords having qualified rentals of maybe $150 a month? Truly the most affordable housing, as long as the standards are they're met. What are your thoughts about having a schedule of maybe 90% financing, 50% financing, depending on what degree of affordability has been determined? You can pretty much find an average per bedroom anywhere from a couple $100 up. And that average might settle in for some people, they'd say between $400 and $800 per bedroom. Others, new construction, much higher.
It's almost like you read my my program without reading my program, because I don't think you have. That's part of it. Landlords have to agree to an affordable aspect of it, and that's kind of what Janine and I were trying to work out a little bit, because I just wanted to use a state average. She told me that was probably the dumbest, and not the same words, dumbest idea. So I was like, well, let's just use the U.S. average then. And she was like, well, we're not the U.S. So we were trying to both agree on, first off, it has to be.
Jordan wanted to dial it in closer to Laramie.
Right.
How was that measured?
I think she just wanted. I don't really know, to be honest. I couldn't tell you. Because one thing about me, if I disagree with you, over 90%, I'm probably going to space out, and that's what I did. And what I mean by that is, we can't just look at Laramie, right? Because we're a 3-college town. We have the university, we have LCCC, and then we have WyoTech. Well, when you have that, and I've seen this because where I'm from, we're in a 3-college, we're actually in a 4-college town. I know that I can write a 9-month lease or a year lease, and I could probably get a little bit more money because you don't care as the student, you're going to move in 4 years, right? And you see that all over. So I didn't want to, bless you. I didn't want to, I think it needs to be more affordable. So, if they egress window, and remember, I only have 40,000 in this program so far, 80,000. I can't remember what we approved. But you want to come in that, the bigger the amount that you request, the bigger your payment would obviously be for that time, but the longer that time period is too. So I kind of, to your point, what you were talking about, I kind of have that already built in. It has to be improvements to the building. You have to agree that you'll keep it affordable, and however that's scaled in there. You can't just come in and say I want paint. It has to be safety or something to that aspect, right? You can't come in and say, oh, well, I put new flooring in, but it doesn't look good, so I want to redo it, right? It has to be something that's safety related to
you have to raise
Yeah.
the bar.
Right.
You have to raise the bar, the expectation. Because one of the greatest criticisms of this program has been what's in it for the actual tenants, what's in it for the landlords. Because right now it looks like a brain drain, a monetary detriment, an anchor that's just being passed on to tenants.
And that was my problem with it was, well, there's nothing helping the landlords out. So that's when I was like, I don't have a second. I'm just going to start writing this. And then budget session, I got the money approved. So now the money's in there. We just need to finish this program. The other thing that I always talked out about this program, because currently, in my opinion, I guess, and probably other people's opinions, but from my opinion, we're basically penalizing good landlords right now, right? Because they're the ones paying. but you have some
voluntarily participating
slumlords out there, right? Who they're not going to come register with us. So that was like my outcry to this, and I was like, how do we help those small guys that are actually following the program? Oh, I know. Like, let's create a loan program, a loan slash grant program, so we can kind of help them with some of those things.
With respect to affordability, what is an affordable rental?
You know, when I listen to, full disclosure, I rent. Currently, right now, it is cheaper for me to rent than it is to buy. And you're like, Brandon, how do you say that? Because I'm sure you guys all have seen the rental prices here. When I hear people paying $1,900 for, a 2.5 bedroom, I don't know how you get a half bedroom, or a 3-bedroom, right? All the way up to
Half bedrooms don't have closets.
yeah, that's it. $2,500. Like, that's the land that I come from in Kansas, which is why we kind of moved away as well. Like, rentals there, $2,700 for a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 1-car garage. I'm like, I can't afford this. So I'm moving the heck away, right? We get up here and I start looking at rentals. They're kind of expensive too. Now, there are affordable ones out there, right? I am fortunate enough, I have one of the affordable ones. We have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, car garage. I pay under $1,000 a month. So it is cheaper for me to pay somebody else's
How many
mortgage,
bedrooms?
Right? 2.
2 bedrooms,
Yeah.
okay.
So it is cheaper for me to pay somebody else's mortgage right now than go get my own. Because the minute we go get our own, it doubles my payment. Now, I'll have some equity in a house. $2,200 house payment doesn't sound fun right now because I like to go have fun.
Right on, right on. As we discuss affordability, the University of Wyoming, with its 6 legacy halls and 2 newly built residence halls, North and South Hall, in 2024, they charged $13,710 per bed. Now, on a 9-month schedule, that roughly somewhere around $50, $51 per day across 9 months. That's room and board. So you can pretty much call it $500 a month in housing, and in outside of residence life, your dining service contract, the $1,000 portion of that $1,500 monthly. Is that a barometer for comparison? Not everyone qualifies to be in student housing, so no. But as the university has closed 2 residence halls, now 3, reopened 1, we're back to 2 closed, and 2 Crane and Hill repurposed for university offices or what have you, $500 seems to be a barometer. Now, whether that's affordable or not is certainly up for argument, because the median income of Laramie, some sources note 28,000, others 32. Regardless of your source and where you get the information, it's not much to cover everything. So even, as we have one individual in on Tuesdays with credit tips, Dan Passman, Union Mortgage, he references many programs, not the easiest to qualify, not impossible, but you have to meet the criteria. How might we aid that with the rental is, I think we get conflicted, and I'm curious what your thoughts are, and we will close out this on housing, break, and then come back with other topics with Brandon Newman, candidate for Ward 2, Laramie City Council.
So,
Brandon?
first off, Dan's an amazing guy. That's my loan guy. So I'll send him houses all the time. I'm like, all right, tell me what this payment is. Tell me what this payment is. So yeah, go look Dan up. He's a real good guy.
208
Yep.
Ivinson or 208 Grand Avenue in historic downtown Laramie.
Yeah, great guy. Go talk to him. He'll talk to you for a long time. How we come up with that affordability number, I think that's going to be a little bit of the challenge. And
Is it even necessary?
You know,
Should city government be in the setting of prices or in the management of prices in any way, shape, or form?
I think for this program, I mean, the reason why I wrote it in is, let's say you have a rental that's $3,000 and you want a new hot water heater.
Buy your own water heater, right?
Right. But are there people out there that would probably come and use this program for it? Probably, right? You just put a couple $100 in my pocket.
As taxpayers, why do I not qualify for it?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. You don't pay into it, I guess. Nobody's ever asked me that question. I don't know the answer to that one. But I wanted to make sure that, like, when I ran, I said I was going to run on affordability. And I think this is a way that we can create some of that affordability, was just kind of my thought process on that.
Brandon Newman, our guest today on the Talk Shop Candidate Awareness Tour 2022. Going for re-election, Ward 2, Laramie City Council. We'll be back in a moment.